Imagine waking up to flood waters rushing into your home, or feeling the unbearable heat of a record-breaking summer. These aren't just isolated incidents. They are part of growing global trend of extreme weather events. Hi everyone, my name is Lu Jiayong, and today we are diving into the world of extreme weather events, how they are becoming stronger and more frequent due to climate change. We will explore hurricanes, droughts, and heat waves, and look at real-world disasters like Malaysia flood and the California wildfire. How climate change intensifies extreme weather. First, let's talk about hurricanes and typhoons. These powerful storms form over warm ocean waters, and climate change is making them stronger and wetter. Warmer oceans provide more energy for storms to grow, and warmer air hold more moisture, leading to intense rainfall. For example, Super Typhoon Hanya in 2013, one of the strongest storms ever recorded, devastated the Philippines, with winds reaching 315 km per hour.
Hurricanes are driven by the transfer of heat from the sea to the air through evaporation. The storm's maximum possible wind speed, or its potential intensity, depends in part on how warm the ocean is. And of course, we're warming the ocean. So researchers expect intense tropical cyclones to become more frequent if we continue to warm the planet.
That's one place I think you find a very strong consensus among scientists who study the connection between hurricanes and climate, that the frequency of high-end events will probably.
When people use the phrase off the charts, they're usually exaggerating. Not this time. Typhoons and hurricanes are categorized on a scale of 1 to 5. Haiyan could be a new number.
If we had a category 6 scale in the Atlantic Ocean, it could very well have been right at that threshold if we set one.
A storm qualifies as a hurricane if it has sustained winds of 119 kilometers an hour. At that point, it's damaging roofs and breaking branches. As it moves up, things get worse quickly. By Category 3, trees are snapping and uprooting. By Category 4, buildings start losing roofs and walls. Category 5 is catastrophic. Areas can be left uninhabitable for weeks or longer. That's what the Philippines have gone through. In fact, to qualify for a Category 5, winds have to be 252 kilometers an hour or higher. Haiyan was more than 50 above that, more than 300 kilometers an hour. Experts at the University of Western Ontario study wind and its effects on buildings. They say basically, other than nuclear reactors, nothing is built to stand up to a storm like Haiyan.
We really don't design common structures or houses, schools, and things like that for these kinds of wind speeds.
On the flip side, climate change is also worsening drought and heat waves. Higher global temperatures cause water to evaporate faster, driving out soil and reservoirs. This leads to longer and more severe droughts. Europe 2022 heat wave, for instance, saw temperature exceed 40 Celsius in places like the UK, resulting in wildfire and heat-related death.
Heat wave has occurred because the heat has been pumping its way out of the northwest of Africa across Spain and Portugal, where we have seen record-breaking temperatures. Curl of cloud just offshore from the Iberian Peninsula has been drawing winds in from a southerly direction. That's going to continue making its way further northwards as the Azores high. This area of high pressure here just eases a little further eastwards. It opens the floodgates for that heat to surge up across France, pushing up towards the UK. By the time we come to Monday, temperatures here getting up to around 35 Celsius in London or more. Touch warmer still as we go on into Tuesday, and somewhere across the UK, particularly into the south and east, I suspect we'll see temperatures getting close to, if not touching, 40 degrees Celsius. Thankfully by Wednesday something a little fresher just topples in from western parts, so that heat just surges into central parts of Europe. So is it down to climate change? That's the big question. Well, as you can see from these NASA charts, climate scientists have been telling us for decades now that we are likely to see an increase in the severity and the frequency of heat waves because of global warming. And if we take a closer look at the UK, here's some of that evidence here as well. Since 1900 to 2002, temperatures have reached 35 degrees Celsius on 9 occasions. Since 2003, we've seen that occur on 7 occasions. 7 out of the 10 hottest years here have occurred since 2003.
It might sound surprising, but climate change actually causes more flooding too. Warmer air holds more moisture, so when it rains, it pours literally. This leads to more frequent and severe rainstorms, a notable example in Malaysia 2021 floods, which were among the worst in decades, displacing over 70,000 people, causing billions in damage.
Malaysia faces nature's wrath. Witnesses one of the worst floods. Over 70,000 people displaced and 15 killed. "41,000 people displaced from Pahang and 26,000 people from Selangor. Residents grapple with flood-induced problems, blame government, claim it has failed citizens.
This has never happened before. This is the first time. So I've been doing this business for more than 24 years. This is the first time.
The Malaysian military used boats to distribute food to desperate people trapped in their homes after massive floods. Days of torrential rain have triggered some of the worst floodings in years across the country. Damaged roads have cut off connections between cities and villages. Malaysia's capital, Kuala Lumpur, is worst affected by the floods. Selangor, the country's wealthiest and most densely populated state, too badly affected.
Real-world consequences. Extreme weather events have devastating effects on people, economies, and the environment. Flood and storm displace millions, and extreme heat wave pose serious health risks, including heat stroke and dehydration. The economic costs are staggering. Governments spend billions on disaster recovery. For example, Hurricane Katrina in 2005 alone caused over 122 billion in damage. The environmental impact is also severe. Wildfires destroy forests, heat waves kill crops, and floods erode farmland and affecting ecosystems worldwide.
With such a large storm, such an immense storm, the storm surge that came into New Orleans was about 15 feet. Once the water began to overtop the walls, it scoured away at the backside of the walls, which weakened the walls even more. You're talking about tens of billions of gallons of water flooding that city within a matter of just a few hours. Over 100,000 homes were completely destroyed from the water. This was an epic, monumental disaster.
What can be done? The root cause of this worsening disaster is climate change. So reducing greenhouse gas emission is crucial. Investing in renewable energy and transitioning away from fossil fuel can help slow global warming. However, we must also prepare for disaster. Many countries are already taking action. The Netherlands has advanced flood defenses, while Malaysia is improving early warning system to reduce flood impacts. Individuals can contribute to by conserving energy, reducing waste, and supporting sustainable policies.
This is the world's biggest storm surge barrier, the Maaslandkering in South Holland. 22 meters high, made from thick steel, it defends a huge part of the Netherlands against the sea.
When the storm is coming in, you get a storm surge. Water comes up higher and higher. If the water comes up higher than 3 meters, then it's going to be dangerous for Rotterdam. That's the time the barrier closes.
The barrier helps protect the large areas of the Netherlands which are below sea level. The gates have only had to close to prevent flooding twice in 22 years. However, with rising sea levels, the barrier may need to close as often as once a year, and each day the barrier is closed costs the port €10 million in lost revenue. So to adapt, port authorities are building facilities on the coastal side that can operate in almost all climate conditions. This delta city uses dikes and dams to keep the water at bay and is testing new ways to manage excess water.
Rotterdam is feeling the rise of the sea level. We build water storage capacity because every drop of rain which falls on the city has to be pumped out. Otherwise we have wet feet within the city.
Water storage capacity can take many forms, and one of the most innovative is this, the rooftop farm. It can hold 60 litres of rainwater per square metre, offers natural cooling and insulation, and a unique place to grow food.
It's incredible that you can go up in your own office in the green space. So that's the first benefit, is the nicest one, I think. The second one is, of course, the water storage, because water storage is very important for the city. And the third one is you can do something about the heat island effect.
Another way to adapt is to explore new ideas of using open waterways. This is the floating farm where 35 dairy cows live on a floating platform on the dockside. Next, they plan to raise chickens and grow fruit and vegetables.
Why not produce food on the water around and in the city? Because when you are on the water, you are climate adaptive. You go up and down with the tide.
To be better prepared for floods like the ones which swept through most of Peninsular Malaysia over the weekend. While the Environment and Water Ministry's Secretary General Zaini Ujang described the floods as a once-in-a-century weather event, Kalitasan Kailasam of the Global Environmental Center said such disasters would be more common than that. We need to slowly learn to live with such floods, and all our buildings and roads must be resilient to high rainfall, he said. Kalitasan also called for community-based flood preparation programs, where the public, especially children, could learn about floods and be trained to deal with them. He said contributing factors to massive flooding included climate change, reduced capacity of drains because of pollution and rubbish, as well as insufficient holding ponds. While the smart tunnel was very good in helping divert floodwater, he said, it was not designed to serve as a water catchment for the Klang Valley.
In conclusion, so what are the big takeaways? Climate change is intensifying extreme weather events, and the impacts are already here. If we don't act now, this disaster will only become more frequent and severe. Thank you for watching. Let's work together to build a more climate resilient future.